In this study, I looked at a specific order of plants called Canellales. Canellales belong to the clade of Magnolids in the plant kingdom. This order has more than 100 species of fragrant trees and shrubs. So I chose 6 of these species to illustrate, and I wanted this page of illustrations to look like a page from a vintage book about botanics. Maybe in the future I will edit all the pages I illustrated and then make them into a real book. But now I'm just focusing on learning about different species to build up my visual library. And I have spent quite some time on drawing plants, and it already feels I have learned a lot. Because right now, when I think about drawing a flower, I don't just come up with a basic daisy drawing. I can, for example, create a more realistic looking flower, paying attention to the morphology of plants. Since I have drawn a lot of water lilies in the last couple of years, my first instinct is to draw something looking like a water lily when I want to draw a flower from my imagination. So I know that this is not enough, and I want to be able to draw a variety of plants from imagination. And the road to drawing from imagination comes from making a lot of studies of real life things, and my recent approach to these studies proved that for me. So as a result, I find drawing plants to be a remarkably effective method for learning plant morphology, offering a unique blend of observation, analysis, and creativity that can enhance my understanding and retention of botanical knowledge. This approach has been utilized by other people like botanists, horticulturists, and educators for centuries to convey the intricate details of plant structures and functions. Firstly, drawing plants necessitates careful observation, which is crucial for understanding plant morphology. When you draw, you must pay close attention to the details of the plant structure, such as the arrangement of leaves, the shape of petals, the texture of bark, or the venation of a leaf. This detailed observation helps to cement these features into your memory far better than simply reading about them or looking at photographs. The act of drawing forces you to slow down and notice subtle characteristics that might otherwise be overlooked, leading to a deeper appreciation and understanding of plant form and function. Furthermore, drawing helps in understanding the spatial relationships and proportions within the plant structures. Morphology is not just about identifying individual parts of a plant, but also about understanding how these parts are arranged and interact with each other. When I draw a plant, I must consider how the leaves are attached to the stem, how the petals overlap in a flower, or how the root system spreads out. This process, I hope, will enhance my ability to visualize and comprehend these spatial relationships, which is crucial for fields such as taxonomy, ecology, and agriculture. And I'm interested in all of these fields because I want to start my own fantasy world building project, and flora can be an important part of a magical world. In addition to aiding in observation and spatial understanding, drawing can also facilitate the learning of botanical terminology. As I draw and label different parts of a plant, I become more familiar with the specific terms used to describe plant morphology. This repeated exposure to terminology in a practical context can improve my ability to recall and use these terms correctly in both written and verbal communication. So these plants that I'm drawing in this study are helping me to learn about botanical terminology also. Most of these species in the order are small to medium trees, rarely shrubs, which are evergreen and aromatic. I chose to draw only the parts that I liked, so it is not really scientific illustration of a specific species because all these species belong to the same order. They are close relatives and the tree form is mostly the same across these. Some of these plants I only draw a couple of branches. For some of them, I draw only flowers, and for some of them, I wanted to have a full tree illustration. I also pay attention to the naming of plants so that when I search for them again later by their scientific name, I can just find the right information. And I also like to learn about the common names of plants so that when I create my own species in the future, I will have a method of naming them. In this study of plants, there are common names like wild cinnamon, pepperbark tree, winter's bark, and pepperwood. I also try to understand the value of the plant for the human culture. Some of these plants have common uses. For example, Warburgia salutaris, the pepperbark tree, have been used for traditional medicine for a long time. Drimys winteri, also known as winter's bark, because of its bright green fragrant leaves and its clusters of creamy white jasmine-scented flowers, have been cultivated as an ornamental plant and therefore has gained the Royal Horticultural Society's Award of Garden Merit. The process of drawing can aid in developing critical thinking and problem-solving skills. As I attempt to accurately depict a plant, I encounter challenges that require me to analyze the plant's structure more closely, compare it to other specimens, and this sometimes creates a need to conduct additional research. So I know that whether for professional study or personal interest, the practice of drawing plants can significantly enrich one's knowledge and appreciation of the botanical world. And I am at the start of this learning journey, and I want to get better in drawing while I add new things every day to my visual library. I realize that just looking at reference images is never enough, but if you make studies like this, everything becomes more memorable. Enhancing my visual library by drawing different species of plants involves immersing myself in the diverse world of botanical forms and structures. By sketching various species, I hope to become intimately familiar with the unique characteristics and details of each plant. By this practice, my aim is to sharpen my observational skills and also deepen my understanding of plant morphology. As I draw, I actively engage with the subject, reinforcing my memory, enabling me to recall these details more readily. So it already started that effect. I felt that with all the water lily illustrations I finished. This process broadens my visual vocabulary, and I want to be able to recognize and appreciate the vast diversity in the plant kingdom, which can be particularly beneficial for fields such as botany illustration and landscape design, but for me, this is about my world building project. Regularly drawing a wide range of plant species helps build a rich and varied visual library, enhancing both artistic and scientific knowledge, so I will be continuing making these kinds of studies, and I want to share my illustration and also the knowledge on species, because I know that this sharing will help me to remember these things better. So I hope to see you soon on another study.